Thanks very much, Jen, and it's great to be back with you guys today. Last we would have presented GFG was 2 years ago, and I think it's been a really fruitful couple of years of COVID for us. So I'm going to go through the story. I am a geologist and explorationist, and I certainly will make forward-looking statements. When we set up GFG 5 years ago, we really set ourselves up to be a district-scale exploration platform. And what you're going to see is a portfolio of assets both within Canada and the U.S. You're going to see a very strong team that's built mines, ran mines, and discovered mines before. We're looking for big systems. We're looking in belts that can yield big deposits, and we're doing it in an aggressive and disruptive way. And I think what you're going to see at both our projects is we're trying to be quite innovative, looking for new technologies, ways to do things better, ways to unlock value for our shareholders. Before we go into the technical details, I want to go through some of the balance sheet side. We had about $4 million cash at the end of last year. We'd be sitting between $2 and $2.5 million in cash as we sit today. We've traded between 15 and 22 cents over the last kind of 6 months, and that would drive a valuation that's right around $20 million. Myself, Rick Johnson, Mark LePage, we're all ex-Claude executives, so we have ran an operating company before. It's a team with great success. A board, seasoned, Patrick Downey, Arnold Klassen, and Brian Bruth, Lisa Riley. These individuals have worked in this space for decades and have a great track record of building value. And alignment with shareholders. Insiders have a good piece here. We have a strategic Alamos, and we also have a large number of very competent and well-regarded institutional shareholders that have continued to support us. Why do we do what we do? This graph shows exploration trends, and I think this room and this conference brings new names for yourselves as investors to look at. And when you look at the numbers, the exploration trends aren't that great. The yellow line is how many gold ounces have been found. And ultimately, this is why we set up GFG, and why we do what we do and how we do it. So we put big belts together. We look to do it off cycle. We're looking to do it in areas that have significant cover in Timmins. And we've put together, I think, a great portfolio of assets, and we're one of the few companies, I think, that has a very relevant chance of filling the curve at the right side of this graph, which is the production profile. I'm going to start with Timmins. This is where we hold 800 square kilometers of ground. Next to Newmont, we are the largest landholder here. We started here with Penn and Doré, which are west of Timmins. They're between the main Timmins camp and the Borden mine, operated by Newmont. The Doré block in the south is sandwiched between Doré and Côté. Both between Borden and Côté, so very large gold systems. This is a 170 million ounce camp, huge endowment, and it's an area with significant cover. As an explorationist, this is what we look for, preserved prospectivity. This is immature, this area yet. We control Penn, Doré, and I'm going to talk most about Montclair. It's our most recent acquisition. It is out east of Timmins. In a little more detail, you see it here. It's about 35 kilometers of strike length we've put together. 4 mills within 20 kilometers of us, owned by Newmont, Pan American, McEwen, and Agnico. This is a great place to make discovery. We are along the Pipestone Deformation Zone, which is the northerly of the two strands coming out east of Timmins, sandwiched between very relevant gold deposits like Fen Gib, and great work being done by Croesus at the high gold, and an old mine called Clavos as well. Montclair was acquired. It is a regional scale land position. We bought this last October. We had a drill turning in October, and we drilled about 3,200 meters last year. We released those holes in Q1 of this year. There's some great numbers here. 5 grams over 26 meters. That's from 75 meters depth. Extremely shallow. 8 over 8. Lots of more bulk tonnage intercepts, 20, 30, 40, 50 meters at a gram to gram and a half. This thing has scale. The old-timers found it in the 30s and the 60s, and nobody really did a lot of work on it until we came back here in 2021. We drilled 500 meters, sort of the central corridor here, and we found great results. The sections on the right show economic hits that remain open, and the system trends along strike for another several hundred meters. So what did we do this year? We took a little more aggressive stance. We stepped out 500 meters to the west. We drilled 5 holes there. 500 meters to the east, we drilled 4 holes there. We put 7 holes into the MC Central panel. That's about 1.2 kilometers of trend we're testing here. And we're hitting mineralization in all of those holes. This thing is growing. It's a very significant bulk tonnage and high-grade system that we're outlining. We have a lot of assays at the lab. We have 17 holes completed. A number of these holes are quite compelling. We expect to publish those in the coming quarter. We are budgeting a 10,000-meter program for this year, which will include second-half drilling as well. So there's some great catalysts here. When we look at the details, being a geologist, this is what gets me excited. Wherever we drilled here in Q1, we found great-looking rock. Big vein systems, lots of sulfidation, great-looking rock, and this is all sitting at the lab, and it's from step-out holes up to 500 meters away. So I'm quite excited with what we've done at the Montclair property, and I think we have a very good chance of continuing to yield very strong drill results. The other half of our portfolio is in the United States, and this is the what-if portion of our business. This is the Rattlesnake Hills project. It's got a history. People have tried to drill it, looked at it as a heap leach. We're looking at it for an in-situ technology. Our partners are trying to bring in-situ mining to gold. Group 11 Technologies optioned this property from us, and if they're successful, I think they can change how the gold industry will work. This is what's there. There's about 100,000 meters of drilling. There's somewhere between 500,000 and 750,000 ounces of gold there, maybe half a gram. It's all drilled off, and it's a great-looking system. So what is Group 11 doing? Ultimately, you're never going to bring in-situ mining to gold with cyanide. They have a proprietary ligand. They've tested it. We've tested it now on a property here as well. It's showing great results. This is non-cyanide-based gold extraction. It's a patented technology that uses an iodine leach. And if you believe that curve there on the bottom right, it leaches gold better and quicker than cyanide. And if that's the case, there is no reason we can't have in-situ mining for gold. I believe we will see it. The first stage of testing that we've done was released here in Q1. If you ask us what success would look like when we started, if we saw a 30 or 40% gold recovery out of putting a whole core into the solution without crushing it, we thought that might be success for in situ and indications of in situ recovery. We took the oxide material, the weekly oxidized through to strongly oxidized. We put whole core immersion testing here. Those graphs show how much gold came out of it. To simplify it, we got 64% of the gold out of the weakly to strongly oxidized samples. That is a great result. No crushing, no use of cyanide. We got 64% of the gold out of it. That's far superior than what we would have defined success as. And the next steps at the project, large diameter drilling, permitting for an in-situ test in 2023. There's great things going down at Rattlesnake Hills. Our partner, Group 11 Technologies, we are an equity holder in them. We have a carried interest in the mine, and should they get its commercial production, there will certainly be a staged cash payment associated with that. So when you stand back and look at GFG, I've talked to you about our portfolio in Timmins, the great exploration successes we're having, pending assays at the lab, our use of technology to wring value out of the project in the US. That was all set in motion in 2021. 2021 was a super busy year for us. It didn't translate to value in that year, but I do think it's building value now. We're drilling at Montclair. Our partners are generating value at Rattlesnake Hills, and we put this out in 2022 H1, and we look forward to a second half this year, which is just as exciting and more with the assays at the lab. Overall, I think GFG is a great investment. I'm a very relevant shareholder myself. I think you get a great team, you get a portfolio of assets, get pending assays at the lab. We found mines before. We've operated and built mines. We have a great shareholder base that's continued to support us. We're effective and efficient capital allocators. The dollars go into the ground. That's what this company's built on. We've got a great catalyst stream for 2022, and I think it'll be a very exciting year for us. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you the best conference.